So messy back there. Uh, hey guys, it's Holly. I don't really know how to start this video because there's really not like a good way of just being like, "Hi, I went crazy." So, I went crazy. Yeah. I'm making this video because there were people worried, and I am so sorry for people who worried, for people who cared. I hate putting people through those emotions, but I do it a lot because I can't help it. Um, I've never hidden the fact that I struggle with a mental illness. I've talked about it in other videos, and it's it's not something that I hide. I don't feel ashamed. It's not my fault. Um, but for anyone who hasn't watched those videos or didn't care to be interested in personal stuff, you're probably not watching this one either. Whatever. Um, I I suffer from greatly, but I have been diagnosed with bipolar disorder with both depressive and manic episodes. I have generalized anxiety disorder. I have seasonal depressive disorder. Is that what it's called? Seasonal depressive disorder? Seasonal? That's part of the reason why we moved to freaking Las Vegas where it's hot all the time. um, I have also PTSD from several um, events in my childhood, and also now from the most recent event, which was the catalyst of all of this. So let's start there. When my son was in the fight that he was in, um, I have mentioned it briefly places, um, but my son is 19 years old. He is an adult, and one night, about a month ago now, um, the very beginning of June. So I guess was it the month ago? Maybe it was. Maybe it wasn't. I don't remember. Can't I can't collect time very quickly. Um, he was in a fight. What had happened was that one of our neighbors was targeted by another neighbor who was involved with gang activity, and when the the person who was targeting our neighbor had her friends come over to jump the family. Essentially, they were waiting for them to arrive in their car to get to gang up on them. Um, there was some altercations with bystanders, who my son was one of, and he was not um, interested in walking away. He's not that type of person. If he sees somebody who he feels is being treated wrongly, he's the type of person who steps in. So he was actually taking a lot of the um, attention from the two men who were involved, so that the mother of my neighbor, well, she's also my neighbor, but her mother was being targeted only by the women. So I guess in that respect, it's, it is what it is. But basically, where the story starts for me is I was just doing my thing here at home. I was cooking, and my younger son runs in. It's like, "Mom, you need to call the police. There's a fight and Dade's involved." And my right behind him, my neighbor came in, and she was like crying, and she's like, "Please call 911. Like, oh my god, like they're gonna kill my mom." Like, that's what she's saying. They're gonna kill my mom. And so I'm calling 911, and I go outside, and I see my son like kind of squaring off with two men, and I see them grab him by the shirt, like swing him around. He hits a car and falls down to the ground. And as I'm on 911 trying to explain to the dispatcher like what was happening, I saw my son fall down to the ground, and I didn't see him get back up. And I've been And I thought to myself in this minute, I'm like, oh my god, they've killed him. And I thought that his little brother is there, he's seeing him dead. Luckily, he was not dead. He had been knocked out when he fell down. When I got down there and when I went over, he was awake already, but he was very out of it because he had a concussion. He went to the hospital with serious facial wounds, a concussion, potential internal bleeding. They weren't sure, but he ended up to be fine, thank God. It was all superficial, and he was able to come home. And so from there, it was just about, him healing and getting back on track. But I didn't realize like how badly those moments affected me, because I just, when I'm in like fight or flight, I'm just like doing whatever I need to do. This sort of thing happens to me a lot. I have a feeling it's because I'm like who I am, but I'm not gonna get into that. So as the days went by and things just felt so bad, and I started really feeling just gross about myself. I started really being angry at people, at the world. And then when I was feeling angry, I then felt guilty because I was angry at people for things that they couldn't control. I was angry at the world for things that was not out of, there was no control. And then I would feel guilty for feeling that way. And so basically, let's see, when I'm filming this, it is Friday, it's June 18th, and um, I'm filming this like right when I've gotten up. I was just out of it for a while. On Monday, whatever Monday was, 18, 17, 16th, on the 14th, on June 14th, I tried to, I tried to kill myself. I don't think I'll be demonetized because I'm not monetized, but I'm going to phrase it a little bit more lightly in case. On Monday, June 14th, um, I tried to do the thing that results in you not being alive anymore. And it didn't work. And I woke up on the, the following day. Basically, I don't really know what happened, because I just had such a mix of drugs in my system that I'm totally blanked out on what happened. Um, I remember waking up and being angry that I was awake, like fucking mad, mad at the world. And I think that was when I posted stuff online. Um, and I remember seeing people responding to those posts, and I deleted or deactivated my Instagram accounts, my Facebook account, my Twitter account, all social media, because in that moment I felt too guilty about what I knew I was going to try to do again to give anyone any explanation. I do know that I messaged some people, but I don't know what I said to them. I don't know who it was because I don't have those accounts active. I don't know when or if they will be active. This has already gone on too long. So essentially, what happened was on Tuesday, my husband called my doctor and said, "This is a problem. We're having a problem." And my doctor tried to call me, but I was already attempting again for the second time. And I was awake when um, emergency services came here because he had called my doctor, my psychiatrist, um, the person who treats me for my mental health, when he had called a welfare check on me. I was awake when the emergency services got here. I don't remember what they asked me, but it was probably pretty clear that I was not coherent. I don't know what I said. I don't know if I said to them that I was attempting to hurt myself or what the exchange was, but they did take me to a local hospital on a um, L2K hold. In Nevada, this is the part where there's a lot of technical jargon. I'll try to keep it to a minimum. In Nevada, L2K is our version of 5150 psychiatric hold, where you are now when you are admitted in with a L2K, which is a legal 2000, um, you are now the ward of the state. You don't have control over your own decisions anymore. You will be hospitalized until a judge decides either you can um, be released from the hospital based on psychiatric evaluation or you are transferred into an inpatient facility. I have been in an L2K hold before, and that is also where the second source of my PTSD comes from. So I remember when I was in the when I was in the ambulance, I was begging the EMTs. I'm just telling them, please don't take me to X hospital. Please don't take me to X hospital. That's all I can remember saying, because it was so bad. It was so bad. I was abused at this place and it was awful. They didn't take me there. I don't know if it's because that just is not close to me anymore. That location isn't close to me anymore, or if it's because my doctor, my psychiatrist has privileges at this other hospital, but they took me there instead. And so I got there Tuesday night, was admitted um, Tuesday night or early Wednesday morning, not sure. Was admitted. Um, when you're admitted on L2K, they take all your personal belongings and they put them in storage. No one can take them. Um, Even an authorized person like your emergency contact, no one can take them. So I had only grabbed my wallet with my ID in it. So fortunately, I didn't have my phone locked up, which I had happened to me last time. So I know that I think my husband had messaged some people or texted people or something. I'm not sure. Um, so I was essentially left once they determined they did a physical. Once they determined that I was going to be okay, that I wasn't in any imminent danger, um, I was essentially just left to sleep it off like a drunk in the drunk tank. And when the doctor came back on Wednesday morning to check, um, they said that my psychiatrist would come by at some point. Um, and he did later that day and talked to me about what was happening and what was going on. But my psychiatrist cannot make the determination about whether or not I can leave or stay. Um, it's a third party decision. Um, he can obviously give them his recommendation based on what he knows of me as a client, and he knows me very well because I have been with the same psychiatrist since 2010. So for over a decade, he's been treating me. So he, when I told him what I was experiencing and what I was feeling, what was leading up to it, he knows that I don't have a genuine desire to no longer exist in this world. What happens is that the bad feelings just build up so high that I cannot, it's like a pressure valve. I can't take it anymore. And that's why I cut. or go a step further. Um, so he said he would, he'd give his recommendation to the evaluating psychiatrist. But, here's the big but. The 72-hour part of a L2K hold does not mean that you have to stay in the hospital for 72 hours and then you can go free. It means that you have 72 hours that you are legally obligated to be seen by a court-appointed psychiatrist. It can happen within the first 12 hours. I've seen it happen the same day someone was admitted. And I've also experienced where it didn't happen to me until like the 70th hour, like literally the end of their official allotted time. I do not know what happens if they don't see you in time. I don't know if you are then released or if you just have to stay with the knowing that you now have a legal recourse against them. Um, but because there are three types of holds or three types of committing psychiatric commitments, there's involuntary an involuntary commitment, which is if you get like arrested or something and you're crazy and the police put you on a psych hold. There's a voluntary commitment where you walk into the hospital or you walk into your doctor's office, you say, I'm going to do something bad, and they say, do you want to go to the hospital? And you say yes. That is usually when you're when you do for yourself, it's tricky because depending on the way that the wording goes, if your doctor calls in and tells them you need help, they can put you on L2K even though you're volunteering to go. So that one is super tricky, and it's just, I don't have experience that way. And then the L2K is when a doctor or another official decides that you're not that you're a danger to yourself or someone around you, and they require you to go into treatment, like go into a hospital for evaluation, and then you become the ward of the state. Anyway, so because my doctor had privileges at this hospital, I don't know if I got lucky or if it was just because the hospital was next in line for the court-appointed psychiatrist to come through or whatever, because there's only like 2 or 3 who go to the hospitals in the Las Vegas Valley. At least there was at the time before that I was only here for a few days. I saw this psychiatrist pretty quickly. It was a different person than I had seen before, but it's not a surprise because it was like 7 years ago last time. She was a very nice woman, and she talked to me briefly about what I was feeling, what I was experiencing. I learned the last time that to keep it as brief as possible, to assure the person that you are not planning on hurting yourself, that you have moved out of this temporary insanity. And luckily, I was able to be discharged on Thursday, she came on Thursday morning, and I was discharged Thursday afternoon, but I didn't get to leave the hospital because of all the discharge paperwork until like evening, like 8 p.m. on Thursday night, last night. So yeah, that's it. I'm here now, and I'm just in a kind of mental recovery. I will have to take some steps moving forward, but I don't need to go into detail for you with those. It's none of anyone's business. None of this is anyone's business. I'm only sharing because of the deep feelings of sorrow that I have towards people who care and the people who reached out, that like your kindness, like, and when anybody shows me kindness or understanding, who cares about what I'm going through, especially when it's in times like this where I can be a really awful person, it means a lot. It really means so much to me, and I can never say in words how it feels because it feels like it's so dark sometimes. And to have people who feel like they are willing to shine a light into that darkness it is really more meaningful than I can ever say. And I know that it kind of sounds really contrary because at the same time I'm still hurting myself knowing that, but uh, when that happens, like I can't explain it because you have to live it. But that feeling isn't me. That feeling isn't who I am or what I want. It's a response to the emotional just buildup of psychological pain that has occurred over months or weeks or years or and that's it. I had some bad news that I had as well during this time about my personal health outside of my mental health, and it got to be too much. And so I'm so sorry to the people who are worried, who wrote out to me or who reached out to me, who were afraid or who were concerned. I want to apologize and I want to say thank you because those words mean so much to me. And then for the rest of you who maybe aren't interested or don't care, or just, don't you're not bothered by this sort of thing, I still want to say thank you because if you're here and you're watching this video or if you've commented during this time, and I haven't been able to respond to comments because I haven't had any access to the internet since Tuesday night. Yeah, I think that Tuesday night. Um, I just want to say thank you because your presence on my social media, your interactions with my social media is so it's so meaningful to me. So at this time, I don't expect to begin posting to Instagram or on Twitter, Facebook again, just for a while because on my main Instagram, my main Instagram, one of my TikToks like blew up a bit and had over 100,000 views, and people were saying some really mean things about me, um, about my appearance. It was just a funny. I just did this. I just made a freaking dumb video about it was like show your catfish picture and then show you right now, and I was like that's funny because I'm laying in bed looking like crap. So I made this video and then all these people saw it and like our comments were awful. I went to go disable the comments, and it was funny because after I did that, like no one saw it. Like it dropped off of the Instagram algorithm and nobody saw it anymore. But like one person said, "How do I know which one's the catfish? They're both ugly," like that type of thing, and it didn't really affect me in the moment, but I think it built up and it was definitely a contributing factor. So even, if you've interacted positively with me on social media, like I totally appreciate it. My kids are back. Anyway, I'm gonna turn this off and I don't know how long it'll be after I've edited it, but if you've watched all the way to the end, I appreciate you again. And I am going to be responding to comments now, trying to respond to any direct messages or emails. And so thank you.